What is up, everybody? Ryan from Sports Card Radio. That is right. We are back for another episode of the R-Rated podcast. Another edition of riveting sports card content. This time, in a one topic podcast, we're going to be talking exclusively about buying portfolios on Check Out My Cards. And portfolios is just a kind of a different term for buying an entire collection or a bunch of cards or a lot of cards from one seller, anywhere from 5 cards all the way up to, I think I've purchased portfolios of over 10,000 cards from certain sellers over the years. And, this can be an intimidating thing if you've never done it before. Maybe you have a Check Out My Cards account. Certainly if you listen to this, you might, because it's, practically every episode we talk about some kind of tip or buying strategy or players we're buying or whatnot. But maybe you've never ventured to this section of the site. Maybe you've only seen the sales section or searched your favorite player or a certain guy you're prospecting or a set. You've never been to the portfolio section or really checked it out because maybe, hey, it can be kind of intimidating. Because in some cases you've got to spend a lot of money, maybe it requires a lot of research, so on and so forth. But this podcast is really going to be kind of breaking it down really easy, and I'm going to try to give you some buying tips, evaluating portfolios, things that you can do quickly. That's the optimal thing here. We're not trying to spend a lot of time. Remember the last episode I talked about how I'm spending about 15, 20 minutes a day on Check My Cards. Probably today a lot less. I had a lot of things to do. We might be in the 5 to 10 minute range. I think I looked at a couple things, maybe a certain set that I'm trying to get cards from, and maybe that was it. Check to see if I sold anything, and then that was totally it. So again, we're in that 5 to 15, 20 minute range. But again, you can, if you want to dip into buying portfolios, collection, again, why would you want to do this? It's one of the topics I want to talk about. It can add cards to your account quickly. Okay, instead of sitting there and waiting for people to put Kevin Herter Prism cards on sale or waiting for people to drop the price or accept your offer on your favorite baseball prospect, you can, boom, go to the portfolio section, buy 500 to 1,000 cards from somebody relatively cheaply in some cases, and boom, now all of a sudden those cards in your account for sale, and you've got a bigger account, you're making money, so on and so forth. So that's one reason why you want to do it. And again, this can all be done in 15 to 20 minutes a day. You can basically spend the same time that I'm doing right now searching Prism basketball. What did I talk about? Stephen Curry cards, Joe Montana cards. I buy graded Barry Bonds rookies. 15, 20 minutes doing that. Shoot, I could easily transition over, and I'm thinking about doing it, transition over to buying portfolio sales on COMC. So again, this podcast will focus taking the intimidation away from buying, big lots of cards, spending money on Check Out My Cards, buying those. Gonna walk you through, maybe how much money you need. Talk about different options there. I'm gonna talk about the need for patience when you're selling this stuff. Several tips about evaluating portfolios when you're going through looking at ones to potentially make an offer on, potentially make a purchase on. I'll give you several tips, things to look out for, traps, so on and so forth. And then specifically when you go to make the offer, the dollar amount, I'll specifically talk about some strategies there, making that offer, what price point to come in at, when you get a counter offer, what to do, things you can do, things that can help you research your portfolio even after you've made the initial offer, and even gotten a counter offer, some things you can do just by making a kind of a lowball offer can sometimes help you research your portfolio. I'll tell you and give you that tip today here on this podcast. But let's get into it. I'm not going to sit around and wait. I've got, all I got to say is the fucking 49ers are 3-0. That's all I really want to express on this podcast, aside from helping you buy some portfolios on COMC. So we got a lot going on. We've got football popping. We got some of my teams playing well that I got tickets to. So money's coming in, feeling pretty good. Still trying to be patient and cautious about the whole season. But hey, speaking about money, how much money would you need to buy some of these portfolios on Check Out My Cards? honestly, I've probably, to put it in some perspective, I've probably purchased anywhere from 100 to maybe 200 or more portfolios on Check On My Cards. I remember there was one year where I was almost buying one practically every day. So that if you bought one every day, that'd be like 300 or more. So I feel like I've purchased a lot of portfolios on Check On My Cards over the years. So I have a lot of experience doing this. The process is kind of the same. They've actually made it cheaper to list your portfolio. So I think in some sense that has made it harder to get a deal done because it's so cheap in some case to list your portfolio. Some guys can just put the feeler out there, see if they get some kind of high offer, or an offer they can't refuse, and then they can sell it. But they really don't have any intention of selling it. They just maybe want to, it's an indirect way to get people to look at your account as well. So again, that's something you want to look out for. But again, I've purchased a lot of portfolios on Check On My Cards. I've gotten a ton of decent portfolios under $100. One of my recent ones, even one I purchased this year, as I turn off, make my phone silent, I think it was 60 graded cards for $90 or $99, or it was under $100, I remember. And it was like 60 graded cards. They were all kind of just junk era cards, but many have sold. There was a Tony Gwynn rookie in there. I think that was like $10 or $15 or something like that. And like, I've easily made my money back on that. Have obviously many more cards to sell, but that was a great purchase. And if anybody wants to sell me 60 graded cards, they were all PSA. Maybe a Beckett or two. Not an off-brand grading company. I would only buy Beckett, PSA, or what's it called, SCG. If anybody ever wants to do that on Check On My Cards, 60 for under 100, I'll do that all day. And again, that's the type of deal you can get by going to the port sales on Check On My Cards. There's a tab for it on the website. You'll have to kind of dig around and find it. It's not like a big, huge button that you can find right when you go to the site. You kind of got to dig around and find the little port sales button. But again, that's the type of deal. And again, this was just a couple months ago I bought that. When I was kind of digging around, had a little bit of money, was bored, and found that deal. I've also purchased portfolios over $1,000 that have been a really good deal. One of the best deals I ever got on the site. It might have been one of the first portfolios I ever purchased. I purchased 10,000 hockey cards for 9 cents each. So not quite $1,000, but $900. And those, it was 10,000 hockey cards for 9 cents each. Yeah, so those 10,000 hockey cards I turned around and flipped for about a quarter. Yeah, 20 cents to a quarter each. It was an easy double, triple up on the hockey cards. Fantastic purchase. Again, one of the best purchases I ever made. So again, they can range. You can make purchases for under 100 that are some of the best you ever made. The graded portfolio I bought earlier this year. Or you can buy a lot of cards or spend more money and again, come out with the same kind of deal. So my advice, if start with however much you have, because again, I think you probably need at least $100, to be perfectly honest. You might be able to get it done with 75, but if you can start with 100, I think you can get something done with that. And honestly, the more you have, say if you had $1,000 or more, the more you have, the more leverage you have, the more buying power you have. And this is what I opened the show talking about, how sometimes buying portfolios can be an intimidating experience, or you think it can be an intimidating experience. No, it's not. Because as a buyer, and if you have a little money in your account, you have the leverage. You have the power, because there are not a large list of people, one, with a lot of money sitting on the site that can make those type of offers on portfolios, or two, that are willing to do it on a day in or day out basis or over a consistent period of time. So you, as a port buyer and a potential buyer, have a lot of buying power and have a lot of leverage. And that's something to obviously keep in mind, and don't feel like you're ever pigeonholed into a deal, because trust me, there's going to be, I think there's 32 portfolios listed right now. At any given time, there's going to be 30 to 40 to 50. There's going to be new ones listed tomorrow. There's going to be new ones listed after that. The person you're probably buying from probably is going to have to list it again. So again, you have tremendous, tremendous buying power if this is something you want to get into. So this is another positive advantage to doing this, because you have real power. There's not a whole lot of people sitting around every day trying to build up their account this way. One thing I do want to point out is that you still need to have patience. Even if you say, hey, I got 10,000 to spend, I'm just going to run up, I'm just going to quote invest this money on check on my cards and run up an account buying some portfolios and turn this money over real quick. You still have to be patient. Remember the 10,000 hockey cards I bought for $900? How long did it take me to sell that? Again, I could go back and actually look and in my stats. I would say to break even, it probably took, I have no freaking idea, to be honest. I think that the break even, like to get my 900 back, probably happened within a few months, maybe like 3 to 4. And then I think, to fully sell through all the cards, or at least most of them, maybe say like 9,800 of them or 9,900 of them, I would think took a year to 2 years. Again, maybe if I had more time, or if I had a budgeting staff over here at Sports Card Radio, it would be something I would have them look them up. I would have them go look up damn near every portfolio I've ever bought, and talk about the ROI on it. What were some of my best purchases? I wish I had more time to do this. I can just do it from memory and kind of feel that purchase was made a long time ago, when there weren't as many cards on the site, weren't as many. I feel like I turned that inventory actually over fairly quickly. That hockey inventory, that 10,000 cards for $900. And that's not a deal you're going to get every day unless you're buying e-pack type cards. And even at 9 cents, you're probably getting ripped off. Buying 10,000 e-pack cards at 9 cents, you're definitely getting ripped off at that point. So again, this was pre-e-pack, pre-everything. It was like 15 cents to list cards on the side, or 20 cents or something. So, but good deals are still out there. Again, I talked to you about the graded card deal that I got for under $100. It was just a tremendous deal. I just listed every card at $10. And shoot, if every card sold at $10, it'd be like a freaking quad up after all the fees and stuff. So, okay, again, so I want to reiterate. You have a lot of leverage. You have a lot of buying power if you're doing this. And if you have $1,000 to $10,000 or more, a lot of buying power. But you still need to be patient. Even if you buy these cards right and price them right, it's still going to take a little while for these to sell, and you've got to be conscious of that. Okay, so if you're sold, you're like, damn, I want to do this. I got $100 or I got 1,000 or whatever. Okay, how do we do this? Evaluating portfolios. You go to it and you see, okay, I'm on it right now, and it says 32 are for sale, and you're like, okay, damn, where do I start? Well, again, this is something you're going to want to take in day at a time. Okay, because one of the key ways to evaluate portfolios on Check On My Cards are the screen name and the sellers themselves. Because if you keep seeing the same seller pop up every day with a different portfolio or the same portfolio, I don't want to buy from that person. Okay, ever, probably. Unless he's damn near giving the cards away. Okay, that's a flipper. That's somebody who's on the site buying cards, mixing in some e-pack cards, flashing some 4 good cards, and then mixing in 300 bad ones and flipping them. Okay? I don't want to buy portfolios from them. So I take special note from the screen names and the sellers. Okay? Another way. So in general, I like to buy ports from unique sellers and from people who added their own cards to the site. I want to reiterate that. These are the portfolios I've done the best on. I like to buy portfolios from unique sellers names I haven't seen before as a flipper. Like, ooh, I've never seen that guy's name before. Who added their cards to the site. I'll be able to tell you how you can do that. And these people aren't flippers. Okay, one way you can tell, besides, oh, I've never seen that screen name. But hey, what if you've never, it's your first time looking at ports. Oh shit, how do now what do I do? Everybody's screen name's unique. Well, you can click on the portfolio, and when you start going through the cards, the item numbers, if they've added cards to the site, the item numbers will be sequential. So, the first person who ever added cards to check out my cards maybe uploaded 100 cards. So their sequentially number going to be 1 to 100 in theory. Okay, it works similar to if you followed the trimmed slab scandal at all and kind of piecing together serial numbers of grading card orders. Well, when you submit a grading card order, your serial numbers are kind of in order or can be similar on Check On My Cards. Your item numbers are going to be similar, so you can start flipping through their cards and see, oh, okay, they sent in a big batch of baseball, and here they all are. Oh, okay, cool. And that's one. Whereas a flipper's cards, where if you go through a flipper's portfolio that he's selling, the numbers typically can be all over the place. Like, you'll notice that unless he bought like a portfolio or maybe submitted some cards himself that are batched together, but you should easily be able to tell this. Between flippers and people who sent their cards in and for whatever reason they got fucking tired of the fucking waiting around, because again, you got to be patient. It's one of the things we mentioned. Some people, they submit a bunch of cards, and they just want to dump the cards for whatever reason. They're tired of it. They want the money. They want to buy something else. Who gives a fuck as long as you maybe potentially get those cards at a good price. Okay. Oh, so again, very, very key when you're evaluating portfolios. Screen name, okay? You'll start to see the screen names really pop up easily. Even in the first week you do this, you'll be like, oh, okay, no. Look for unique screen names, sellers. And then when you're looking through the cards, you'll look at the item numbers. So that doesn't really help you that much. It doesn't really help you price a port out. It just kind of helps you. That just kind of helps you maybe one potentially buy. Okay, so you find one, maybe it's got 500 cards. Dang, this guy sent all these cards in. They're all baseball or whatever, or something you like. How do I figure out what to offer or what to do? You'll notice earlier when I talked about the hockey portfolio I bought, 10,000 cards for 9 cents each. Well, that's how I priced it out. Okay, that was the offer I made. There were 10,000 cards. I offered him $900 and he accepted it. I didn't sit there and worry about, God, I paid 16 cents for this one and 15 cents for this one and 8 cents for this one and I've got to price this one different. No. I looked at the whole transaction as one big block. 10,000 cards, 9 cents each. I don't give a fuck if there was one Wayne Gretzky rookie and all the rest were fucking 1990 Pro Set. They all were fucking 9 cents to me. Now, I would have priced them accordingly, but that's the way I evaluated the portfolio. So similar way to maybe when I'm evaluating a 500 card portfolio. And the guy wants $500. Okay, it's $1 a card. Okay, what's in here? Let me go look at his highest price shit. Okay, go to his account, and again, you can search highest price. Get a feel. Again, you probably bought cards before, because you could probably look at his first 5 to 10 cards and be like, okay, let me price those out. Thing you want to look out for, especially now buying portfolios, something I didn't have to worry about when I was really heavy into buying, is e-pack cards. A guy might put 5, 10 nice cards, get you excited about buying it, but then he bought 200 2-cent e-pack hockey cards or whatever, or good or whatever, alien cards, and those are in the fucking portfolio. So I always search when I'm evaluating a portfolio. I always search the highest price. Look at okay, here we go. He wants $1 a card. Here's his 10 highest cards. Okay, maybe 5, 10 a card there, and then I always search the lowest price. What has he got on the low end? And a thing you can do to make sure you're not getting stuck with 100 2-cent e-pack cards is you can search by most quantity. Make sure you're not getting stuck with literally 100 count of a bunch of commons that are overpriced and they're just jacking up the price of the portfolio. Trust and believe I've done that. Trust and believe I've overpaid on a portfolio. Trust me, I've bought a portfolio spent probably good money on it, and ended up losing money when you added it all up at the end of the day. So I've done all these things. Don't do that. But don't sit there and go fucking card after card after card and price it out. Like, you should be able to get a feel for what does he have, what are the price range for his shit, what are his 5 to 10 best shit, what's all the low end, is the low end overpriced? Is it a bunch of e-pack shit priced at 30 cents that you can't even get 2 cents for? Literally, there are cards on Check Out My Cards that are like 2 cents. So you can't even get anything for it. So buying portfolios today, especially from professional flippers and guys trying to take advantage of you, you have to be very, 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 very careful of the e-pack shit, because it dries up the SRP of the portfolio. It's worthless, or close to worthless in some sense, and it can really hurt you. You can really lose some money this way. So you got to be careful. But again, I'm evaluating. A lot of times, I'm only in my quote heyday of buying portfolios. I might buy a $500 to $1,000 portfolio and only look at it for 2 minutes or 3 minutes or less. That's the level you need to get to, because this can't be taking a whole lot of time. I'm assuming you've got other shit in your day you've got to do. So again, I've given you some ways to evaluate the screen name, the item numbers, making sure it's coming from a unique seller who has uploaded these cards, who maybe is totally detached from these cards and just want to get rid of them, and it doesn't have kind of a flip value to them or needs to get, quote, something out of them. Who knows what this motherfucker accept? He just take the first offer. Those are the sellers you're looking for. I told you about some ways, again, to do that. Some of my best portfolios and my favorite portfolios to get are probably the ones nobody wants. The shit that is all Pokemon. The shit that's all soccer. The shit that was all hockey before e-pack came along. The shit that's all like random, like art cards or just bird cards or whatever. Fucking random shit. The shit that's all commons, that's priced right. Those are the ports that I want. I don't want ports filled with a bunch of prospect cards that, yes, some of them are going to go up, but some of them are probably going to go down. And no matter what the fuck you do, you have to be patient. And these things aren't going to fly out the door in a month or two. These cards are going to sell in 6 to 12 to 24 months. Okay? That's an investment. That's not a fucking get-rich strategy. If you want to play the prospect game, go buy the individual cards. Spend 15 minutes a day. Go look at the Arizona Fall League stats and go buy your Joey Bart cards. Go buy your Heliot Ramos cards. Go buy who the motherfucker? Yes, Royce Lewis. Damn, that motherfucker hit a home run yesterday. That was really nice. Really nice. I was like, damn, that was really nice. And I think his girlfriend was sitting in the same row as me, or one of the girlfriends. So he's doing pretty well. That's all I got to say. I think he's one of the top, number 1, number 2 prospect in all of baseball. Now I got off track. But yeah, if you want to buy the prospect shit, buy those singles. So again, I'm looking for portfolios that are unique from unique sellers. And yes, some of the best ones I bought are that off kind of shit. Pokemon, soccer, hockey. Definitely a port full of basketball would be right up about alley. Port full of graded boo-boo cards. Nobody wanted it. Boom, I was right there buying it. Deals on there every day, every week. And there are 32 portfolios on there at one time right now. So I told you that some of the traps to look out for. You got to look out for those fucking e-pack cards. Okay, so you found one. You know, you took some of my advice. You implemented some of your own knowledge and flipping strategy. You found one. This is what I like to do. And you could damn near do this on every fucking portfolio. There's kind of a minimum offer you have to make. I think it's 10% of the asking price or 20% of the SRP. Sometimes oftentimes, I would say some portfolios are not even worth the minimum offer. Like, don't even put the minimum offer because the motherfucker might accept or probably will accept. It's not even worth the minimum offer. You should be able to smell out those portfolios a mile away. Once you start looking at them, you're like, this is junk. Not even worth looking at it. Junk. Ooh, this might be good. Of the 32 portfolios listed, there might be one worth buying. Maybe two, if the motherfucker's let him go at the right price. Just to give you an idea. It's not like you go there if the all motherfuckers let him go for 5 cents a card, sure, but that's not going to happen. Half of them are probably professional flippers. Or big sellers trying to unload some inventory. So what I like to do when you find one, I like to make an offer. Again, sometimes it is a lowball offer, especially if it's a portfolio maybe I don't particularly want that much. It's from a seller maybe that is a little questionable. It's some inventories that's a little questionable. I will make a lowball offer. And you know why I do that? It's because it can help you fucking research the portfolio. One, he might accept. Two, it gives you time to evaluate. Because you know what it gives you? Sorry, I knocked my mic. You know what time? It gives you an opportunity. Because when you make that offer, you can go to your offer history. Click on that offer. And you know what it does? It shows you if anything is sold. Right? Because it's gotta allow you to do that. Because on the counter offer, if shit is sold, you now have a different deal. You have a totally, the seller has to send you an offer, but then it shows you all the cards you sold. But you could see that before the seller even sends you an offer. So you can kind of feel out how good is this portfolio? How price right are these cards? If these cards are priced right, some of them might sell. So I can make an offer and I fucking wait. I don't care if I get a counter offer within 5 minutes. I'm waiting, and I'm not talking about 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm waiting hours, sometimes days, over 24 hours. It's not something I overly want, or if I just need it, I need to get it at a right price. If you want to get a portfolio at a right price, and it's not like, some kind of, oh my God, inventory. It's just kind of a run-of-the-mill inventory. Make an offer. Make a lowball offer. Fuck it. What's the worst that could happen? He rejects. Oh well. Jesus. I'll still, put my pants on one leg at a time. Jesus. How will I survive? It's probably a song name written for that. So who gives a fuck? Make a lowball offer and wait. If he sends a counter, great, you can evaluate that, but at the same time, you can see, is the shit selling? Is anything selling out of here? Did the port sell? Did somebody else buy it? So that's a great way to do some evaluating, right after. And again, I wait. I make an offer and I would wait. Again, you as the fucking buyer have the leverage. You have the money. There's not a whole lot of people with how much money do you got in your check on my cards account? Bet you 99.9% of the people listening to this have under 4 figures in their check on my cards account. Liquid, cash. Not talking about cards, cash. So you as the buyer, you as the port buyer, you on there every day researching, you on there every day getting savvy about this can really come up. Again, some of my best deals on the site have been buying ports. You can still spend the same 10, 15, 20 minutes a day doing this shit, right? As you would. Checking my phone. But find quicker, better deals, get more cards, scale up quicker than you would just individually buying cards, or focusing just on Prism, or focusing just on Steph Curry, or focusing just on things kind of thing. I've done it. Obviously, if you have any tips, if you need any advice, inbox wide open. It's Sports Card News on Twitter. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me nowadays. That's probably all the advice I got. That was about 30 minutes clean. I'm sure there's a lot more, and maybe on future episodes, if I think of those things, I'll add those in. But that's kind of a basic little primer just to get you juiced up about it. Definitely something you shouldn't be intimidated at all about. And again, you can get good shit, I think, under 100. and you can obviously the more money you spend, the better deal you could potentially get, and the quicker you could scale up your account and possibly get those sales rolling in. But let's see, anything else I got? Arizona Fall League, I've only been to a couple games. Joey Bart hit 2 home runs the first game. I was at that game. That was pretty impressive. Talked about Royce Lewis. Who's he play for? Tampa. He's one of the big, huge prospects. He's a little guy. Kind of reminds me of, I think he plays third, but his body type and even his swing is a lot like Derek Jeter. But definitely probably has a little bit more power, a little more, like a lot of bat speed. Like the bat speed has got to be clear as day. But fuck it, this motherfucker walked by you on the street and you didn't know. This is not like, oh my God, 6'5" baseball player. So interesting player, but he hit a really impressive home run. I think he did some other things in the game too. I was a little tired. I was a little like kind of in and out of the game, but yeah. So Royce Lewis, Joey Bart, again, he's a Giants guy, so I kind of knew. I've been following him almost most of the season, his stats and just kind of what he's doing. So he's a big guy, and a lot of power. And seems to be, learning the catching game a little bit. So lots of Giants prospects actually last night. They had Jason Hayward's brother was in the lineup. Jalen Miller, a guy I've shouted out, was struggling last night. Was kind of 0-2 every fucking at bat for him. So he was really struggling. He needs to get it together a little bit. And Helio Ramos, one of their good prospects, younger kid, kind of power hitter looking kind of guy, was in the lineup too. So that was fun. The day off today, so that's why I didn't get out to a game. So hopefully tomorrow get out to one, and hopefully you get out to a sporting event or maybe even a 49er football game in the future, hopefully. And if you need tickets, you can always call Sports Card News if you need tickets to that, 49ers. But hopefully you're enjoying the NFL. Hopefully you're enjoying some preseason hockey's going on. I know all about that. I picked up a new hockey team that I'm going to sell this year, so that's always good. I tell you, you're sitting around flipping football tickets. I made quite a bit of money, obviously, on that. I'm more excited and more juiced about, I think, there was one preseason game, I think I only made like 120. Never sold the hockey team. It's preseason hockey. Never sold the hockey team before. Usually only do the Vegas Knights, but the Vegas Knights shit was kind of weak this year because they played the games in the afternoon the first game was like an afternoon on a Sunday. So I was like, oh, I know that's going to be weak because motherfuckers on a Sunday afternoon in Vegas ain't trying to go to a hockey game. So horrible start time for scalpers on that game. But I was flipping another hockey team. Made 120 on the first game. I was like, oh, shit, that's kind of crazy, preseason hockey. And then did like two, probably like two or 220 on the second game, all in less than 24 hours. Flipped all the tickets like in less than 24 hours, and I was like, fuck. I was like more excited about flipping the preseason hockey tickets than I was all the football shit that I've done the last week. It was a busy football weekend with a couple of the teams that I was selling. But I was like more juiced about the hockey because I was like, fuck, maybe I can do this all year, or maybe this shit will ride out for a sec. So, because if you make money in the preseason, it's not every game that you can make money in the regular season, but there are certain spots that it's like, oh, fuck, you can really clean up because you already know how to do it. You already know the price range. You kind of already know the feel. I think the second game probably sold, 12 tickets. So that's what, like 5-6 different sets. Yeah, so it was like, you kind of got a feel for how fast they sell, how much you got to pay, what do people want to pay, But yeah, this is all, when I start talking about tickets, it all comes back from buying cards and even portfolios on Check Out My Cards. Being able to evaluate shit really quickly. Being like, should I buy this set? Should I buy these tickets? Yes, boom. Like you have a lot of time when you're buying portfolios on Check Out My Cards. You, in some cases, have days to make a potential deal, right? With tickets, you might have seconds, and then even that might be too late. You might be too late. So you have to evaluate things really, really, really fucking quickly with tickets. So if you're thinking, well, why don't I just sell tickets? Well, I've known a guy to lose thousands upon thousands of dollars trying to sell tickets. So I tell people to be real, real cautious with that. You got to know what you're doing, and you got to really, really fucking know what you're doing. I only kind of know what I'm doing. And I mean that seriously. But, hey, I did do 220 on a hockey game, preseason fucking. I mean, how many fucking people were really there? I mean, really, how many motherfuckers were really there? But I usually do the nights. I'll shout that team out. I usually do the nights because I lived in Vegas, so I know there are certain nights and there are certain games that the price point is gonna fucking be $1.25, $1.50 to get in to a hockey game on a Friday or Saturday night on a big night in Vegas. Period. End of story. Like, period. So if you know this, and the team is just somewhat competent, and they made the Stanley Cup Finals the first season, and I think last year they were semi-decent. No, they made the playoffs. Yeah, because they made the playoffs. I think they lost in the first round to the Sharks, I believe. Team somewhat decent. Friday, Saturday night, Vegas Knights hockey tickets. Get-in price is going to be $1.25, $1.50 pre-fees. So if you know this, you can basically just sit there a week out or 2 weeks out or whatever, fucking look right now and be like, okay, God, the week of the CES conference, boy, the Vegas is going to be slammed. All these fucking horny fucking middle-aged guys who can't get pussy or think they're going to get pussy later want to go to the hockey game before. So what's the ticket price going to do in that week? Going to fucking explode, right? I mean, you could literally predict it right now. The week of CES, if there are Vegas Knights hockey games and the team is semi-competent, or the team they're playing is popular or semi-competent. Again, there's a little risk there, but not much. The tickets aren't going to be $10, even if they've lost every game. It's Vegas. It's Vegas. So there, I gave you a brief lesson on how to flip Vegas Knights hockey tickets, just kind of understanding the market. And again, it's actually not even about, well, who's on this team and did this and did. No. Friday, Saturday fucking nights. What's the entertainment value in Vegas cost? Over $100, $150 at least. So if you start digging in and figure out the tickets and what are the good section and what do these good tickets cost and where do I buy them? There you go. There's a brief lesson on Vegas Knights. And I gave you 30 minutes on, buying portfolios and checking my cards. Hopefully it helps. Hopefully it makes you some money. Hopefully you can find some good cards. And again, you should get to a point where you can evaluate these portfolios almost like you're evaluating a set of tickets, like boom, like almost instantaneous. Like, okay, 5 minutes, done, boom, offer sent, or no offer at all. Most of the time, you're not sending an offer at all. 98 times out of 100, probably not sending an offer at all. That's why you need to be able to do this quickly. You're not going to fucking sit there, evaluate a portfolio for 10 to 30 minutes and not make an offer. Like, that's fucking stupid. You need to be able to do this in minutes. So that's why I gave you those tips. Re-listen to them if you need to hear them again. Otherwise, hopefully see you guys again sometime soon. And we'll be back later.